For all you storm chasers out there and lovers of big, dumb summer blockbusters, oh my God, let's get into it. Hey, welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is doing well out there. And the reason I ended my intro with saying, oh my God, is because if you were drinking a beer or your alcoholic beverage of choice while watching this film and you drank every time somebody shouted that phrase, you would have a damn good buzz going. Yes, indeed. And the film I'm talking about is Twister. This film came out in May of 1996. It was made on a budget of $92 million. Upon release, it made $241 in the U.S., and $494 worldwide. This was the second biggest box office hit of the year behind Independence Day. And this movie was made by Jan de Bont, was the director of this film. Jan de Bont was a cinematographer for years before he started directing. He had done Cujo, All the Right Moves, Die Hard, Black Rain, Hunt for Red October. His first directing job was Speed, which was a huge hit, and this was his second film. Unfortunately for him, after this film, he went on to do The Haunting, which is a shit movie, Speed 2, another shit movie, and Tomb Raider 2, which was also a crap movie. But this was a huge hit for him. And in this movie, we have Helen Hunt as Dr. Joe Harding. We have the great Bill Paxton as Bill Harding. We have Carrie Elways as Dr. Jonas Miller. He's kind of our scumbag scientist, the foil for Bill and Joe. And we also have Jamie Gertz in this film as Dr. Melissa Reeves. She plays Bill Paxton's fiance. And we got Philip Seymour Hoffman as Dustin, a part of Joe's crew. And basically, very simple story. Michael Crichton also wrote this film along with his wife, and he was paid $2 million for the script. Oh boy, they should have worked on the script a little bit more. But they also brought writers in to rewrite it, like Josh Whedon was brought in and a few other writers to do a rewrite on it. The movie is a very simple setup. We see Joe as a young girl on her parents' farm as a kid, and her dad's watching the news, and they realize a tornado's coming towards their house, so they get the family together and they go down to the storm shelter. Even the dog, who looks like Toto from It's a Wizard of Oz, which I'm sure was a callback to the Wizard of Oz, because the dog looks just like Toto. And they're in the storm shelter, and the door starts becoming loose as the tornado's getting closer. The lock's like coming loose, and the father grabs it, and he's holding on as tight as he can, and the tornado rips the door off. The father goes up in the tornado and gets killed. Fast forward to present day, or 1996, and we're introduced to Bill Paxton's character, and he's in his truck with his fiance, and they're driving out to get divorce papers from Joe, because Joe and Bill were married for years, and they worked together as storm chasers. But now that he's getting divorced, he's going to marry Melissa, and he's a weatherman now. He doesn't do the storm chasing anymore. And this is where, when they get to where they're going, we're introduced to Joe and her whole team. And she's a nice-sized team, and they all drive kind of like rundown vehicles. And they say about how they're running out of grant money and such. So it's very important for them to get this device they made, Dorothy, in front of a tornado so they can get the data from it and get more grant money. So this is a very important season for them. And right away we know Joe's still in love with Bill and Bill's still in love with Joe. They're not hiding it very much. And they get a report of tornado and they take off, and Bill has to follow them because she forgot to give them the divorce papers. So they follow them out to this tornado spot, and Bill gets involved with it, and they have a close call. And so Bill's there for the day now. He's decided, I'm going to hang around for the day, and Melissa's like, I'm going to tag along. And they have close encounter after close encounter. And then we come to my favorite scene. I'm fast forwarding through some stuff, but the scene at the drive-in. There's a drive-in movie theater where they stop at for the night, and the drive-in's playing Psycho and The Shining. Those are the two films on the marquee out front, and they're showing The Shining right at that point on the big screen. And Melissa's in the hotel. There's a hotel right there by the drive-in, and Bill goes up to Joe, and they're at the concession stand, and there's a tornado coming towards them. And everybody takes cover, but I like this shot, and I know it's something so simple, but I just like this shot, and it sticks with me, where you can see the screen still projecting The Shining on it, where Jack Nicholson's breaking down the door, and the tornado starts taking away pieces of the screen, and then the screen's gone, and just for a couple seconds you can see the film still being projected on the tornado. I always like that shot. I know it's such a simple thing, but it's my favorite scene in the whole movie. I don't know why, it just is. And then we have Joe's grandmother has a run-in, her aunt has a run-in with the tornado, and they have to get her out of the house, and she's hurt. And this sets up our final encounter with, they have an F5 tornado, which is the strongest tornado, and Bill and Joe go in with the truck, and they're successful at putting Dorothy in front of the tornado, and it takes all their little sensors up in the tornado, and they get the data they want. But now Bill and Joe have to run for their lives away from this tornado. Now, it's an exciting scene, but it's so over the top and unrealistic, but you go with it because the movie's a big, dumb summer blockbuster. That's what it is. So you're supposed to turn off your brain and just go along for the ride. And then they strap themselves to these water pipes to go into the ground, and the tornado has their feet, they're floating in the air, and then they survive as the tornado dissipates. And it has a happy ending. Joe and Bill are back together, and they have all this data, and they're going to have to open up a new lab. And so it's a very simple story. It's razor thin, the plot here. It's mostly about them going from tornado to tornado, getting in trouble, having close calls. You never feel like they're in danger at all. The only person that dies is Carrie Elway's character, and it's because he makes a dumbass move. And he's such a scumbag to them. You're not hoping he dies, but he does. He makes a stupid move, and he ends up getting killed. But our main characters, you never feel like they're in any danger. It's basically, you just follow them from adventure to adventure with these tornadoes, and then they have a close encounter, and they're on to the next one. So, I mean, and the other thing I'll say is that besides the script is very weak, it is. Thank God they hired good actors. Bill Paxton's always likable, so you like him on screen. You like Philip Seymour Hoffman. You like Helen Hunt's character. That's why they hired good actors. They're all very likable, but there's nothing to them really. They're all just one-dimensional characters, but the actors do what they have to do to get through the movie. And there's, like I said, the script is not that great, and the effects. I remember in '96, I saw this twice in the theaters with my parents, and this was a staple in our house. I remember my parents bought the VHS. We used to watch this every spring going into summer when it was tornado season. It was just something we did, and my mom still watches. She just watched it last week. I just watched it last night, but I saw it twice, and the special effects back then were state of the art, and they looked fantastic on the big screen, and with the DTS sound, it was great. I remember seeing it, and it sounded amazing. Now watching it through 2020 eyes, there's some effect shots that do not hold up that well. That's not the movie's fault. It's from a time point where they did the best they could with what they had, and compared to what we have now, it doesn't look as good. There are still some shots that look really, really good, but some of the close-up shots, you can tell, you can see the seams, and it just doesn't look quite as good anymore. But that's not the film's fault, and I can't take a point off for that. It's a moment in time. You can't fault the film for their limitations at the time when they made it. But overall, I always enjoyed this film. I know I shit on it a little bit, but I do enjoy this film. I usually watch it about once a year around this time of the year. So I would give Twister a 7.5 out of 10. It's a fun, dumb summer movie, and I really enjoy it. It's not the greatest thing, but 7.5 out of 10 for me for Twister. Have you seen Twister? What are your thoughts? Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up button and the subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate that. And that is it for me. I will be back soon with another review. You all stay safe and take care of yourselves. Bye.